And we're hot.
Back in the studio.
Studio here.
On beautiful Smith Lake.
Ain't much of a lake left.
Ain't much of a lake left,
They've done dropped it about 8 feet.
And we ain't getting no rain. There ain't nothing in the forecast, so.
No, and I got to plant food plot Saturday.
You're going to be looking of a different variety of color like you did a couple weeks ago. You're going to look Puerto Rican or something, Hispanic, after being on that dusty Kubota. I
wear a sombrero on that tractor. But it's they calling for maybe a little rain Sunday or Monday, so hopefully we'll plant those fields. We'll get a shower until the next rain comes in.
We need it. We need it bad, but I mean, there ain't really nothing we can do about it. It's that time of year, and we just have to.
I've done 2 or 3 rain dances, but it ain't helped me.
Yeah.
Wife thinks I'm crazy.
Well, back during the spring, I was doing it to stop. So.
Oh, I know. It seemed like every day. I mean, you know how it was. Everywhere we turkey hunted, it rained on us.
Yep.
I mean, from Alabama to Canada.
Yeah, it helped with the acorn crop and everybody's gardens.
We loaded.
Everybody had a nice one, and the woods are full of acorns this year. And
did bow season kick off in North Alabama today?
It opened in Winston County.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay, Winston, just Winston.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So
at least there's one county in the state.
Yeah. Unless you're in that little sliver I am, and it's not open until October 15th. But
that's the way it's always been where I hunt.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, it don't have to be. You can go out there and take your chances.
Yeah. Well, I'd rather not.
I'll bail you out.
But I mean, I'm sure if I wanted to go and hunt, I could. But I'm going to wait 2 weeks, let it cool off.
There you go. Maybe it will cool off.
There was a lot of snakes seen while hunting in the forest this morning. So
chiggers.
Oh, chiggers, ticks.
I'm eat up.
Woods are full of those, all that this year. But,
well,
man, I think we got a good one tonight.
Well, go ahead and tell us.
We've got Matt Dale with Dale Outdoors. Are you with us, Matt?
I'm here.
Oh, man. We appreciate you being on here tonight. We know that you're a busy man, and sometimes when we reach out and ask it don't work out like that, but you responded quick, and we're making it happen, and I appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you having me on. I'm getting ready to kick off hard bow season here Saturday. It don't open till, we're kind of a late bloomer. It don't open till October, whatever the first Saturday of October is. That's when it opens up. So I sometimes I'll start early in like Tennessee or somewhere, but I didn't this year. But you're talking about it getting hot. I mean, it's been hot here, and I usually don't hunt much in the mornings, especially in October. But I'm going to opening day because I've been getting pictures of activity. Really, it's sort of odd because I've been getting activity like, and I guess it's just where I'm hunting on the outside of a bedding area. And I've been getting activity at like 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, even 12:30, 1 o'clock in the day when it's 80 degrees. I've been getting deers coming through there. And it's like, well, that's odd, for up there. And I thought, so I'm going to have to just tough it out and go in there and at least set till 11, and I usually don't do that early. It's all evenings for me, until about the 25th, usually about the 25th of October. That's kind of like the day that I set to where I start hunting mornings.
Well, I say every year I'm not going to hunt mornings in the early season, and I'm up every morning at daylight.
If you're already there, it's like,
Well,
I travel down to where I hunt. Well, I mean, I could hunt right here in the yard. I had 5 in the driveway yesterday, but so if you're down there, you might as well get up and go. So,
it's about a 45-minute drive for me, and it's only a small piece of property, like it's probably like 27 acres where I'm at, and but there is. There's deer there, but I usually just don't put too much pressure on them because I try to save it, which I'm usually gone all of November. And so I try to, because I'm usually out in the Midwest somewhere, and, I'm usually about the 3rd or 4th of November, I'm out of here, and they don't see me till Thanksgiving. I'm about 3 weeks in November. I'm nowhere around where I live at. I'm usually 12 hours away where the big deer are at, and to hunt the rut. But But it's kind of weird because every morning when I wake up, I look at my phone and I've got pictures and they've been coming through there. And then like at 10, 11, 12 o'clock in the middle of the day, I've been getting pictures and I'm like, oh, but I'm hunting right on the outside of a bedding area, and I think what it is, they're just staying right in there really close and I'm not in the bedding area, but I'm just on the fringes of it,
That's a good place to be.
Well,
we'll see what happens.
Before we get too deep into it, just give us a little background on you.
I was born and raised I was born in Virginia, where I live now. I came back here 3 years ago, but I've lived about half of my life in Virginia and half of my life in Missouri, northern Missouri. And so we moved to northern Missouri when I was 10, and I stayed out there, about half of my life, and then I came back here, and I'm living back here now in Virginia, and but I don't, like I said, I don't hunt a lot. I turkey hunt a lot, like in spring. We got some really good turkey hunting right close to the house here, so I try to hunt as close as I can to the house until I tag out, which is pretty quick, and then I'm off to somewhere else. So mostly turkey season. Turkey season for me used to be like 3 weeks out of the year. Now it's turned into 2.5 months to where I'll start down Alabama or somewhere like that in March or whenever, and then I'm pretty much, this past year I went all the way. My last hunt of the year was the 27th of May. So I'm just usually about dead by the time it's over, But everybody knows me from YouTube and the turkey hunting videos. I've been, the turkey hunting thing's been good to me. That's my passion. I love to deer hunt. I'm a big deer hunter, bow hunter. I've been bow hunting since I've been 13 years old. Well, I started shooting a bow when I was 12, started bow hunting when I was 13, and killed my first deer with a bow when I was 14. And so I've been bow hunting a long time. And then, of course, gun hunting. I killed my first deer when I was 12, shot at my first deer when I was 11. That was my first year ever with hunting with a gun. And so I've just basically just hunted and fished all my life. That's all I've ever known is either hunting or fishing, deer hunting, fishing, turkey hunting, squirrel hunting, rabbit hunting, and chasing bass and walleye and stripers and whatever else. And basically people say, man, what do you like to do outside of hunting and fishing? I'm like, nothing. That takes my whole year.
Sound like
that
me.
takes my whole year. That takes everything. Mm-hmm. When I tell the story in my seminars, and nothing against sports or nothing, but and even in high school, when I got into high school when I was in 8th grade, all my friends, they were going to go out for football and stuff, and even then I was pretty as far as like athletic looking and all that, and but I never really played sports. So when I was in 8th grade, I got peer pressured into going out and trying for the football team. And because, all my buddies and my best friends were, and, oh, you got to come, man, you got to go. And it was kind of like that status in high school, that status of being on the football team or being in sports and all that. And so long story short, I actually made the team, and we were going to go for our first practice. And when we went for our first practice, they handed out the sheets about the schedule that fall. Now, this was in August. Well, they were handing out the sheets of the schedule for when we started the games. And I honest to God, I sat in the gym there and looked at the sheets, the sheet they give me, and it was like October, gone, away, gone, practice, home, away, November, away. And I got to looking, and honestly, and this was in 8th grade, I looked at that schedule, and I looked and I said, no, wait. You mean we got to be here for this and this and this? And then I'll never forget, one of the away games was on the weekend, opening day of bow season. Uh-oh. And I just looked at them and I said, listen, this ain't going to work. And they're like, and he's like, well, you got to be here for this many practices, and you can't. And I'm like, well, I'm going to tell you right now, this ain't gonna work. This is gonna take my whole bow season, and it's gonna take going into rifle season, and that ain't happening. And I remember I got up and left and called my mom to come get me, and I quit the team before we ever played because it was cutting into my deer hunting.
Well, that about tells me everything I need to know.
Yeah. That passion's run deep and for a long time.
And that was in 8th grade, man. And my buddies were so mad at me. You're going, oh man, I'm like, look, this is all fine and good, but this will take my whole bow season up, and that just ain't happening. So it was deep into me. It was the hunting part. It was just deep in my soul. Even of course, I've been going ever since I've been 4 years old, sleeping in a sleeping bag with Dad when he'd be deer hunting in November. I mean, he used to take a sleeping bag when I was 4 or 5 years old, and I just lay in that sleeping bag and sleep half the day while he was hunting.
I used to do that very same thing with my youngest son. We'd be in a 2-man ladder stand, and he'd be in a sleeping bag laid over on me asleep while I hunted. I had to wake him up so he could kill his first deer.
Sounds like me.
Oh man! But that's still memories that you just, that's still memories that you just.
Well, and we're lucky we had great fathers that took us out, taught us. Oh, yeah. It sounds like you did. I know I did. Yeah. I mean, and I'm lucky still have him. And but
my dad is he's still with me, but he's getting very feeble. He still hunts, but his hunting anymore consists of going sitting in a blind, overlooking a field or something where he can see, and he can't run a gun anymore for turkeys. But I'll tell you, one time in his prime, I've watched that man, I've watched him do it. I've sat back on a edge of a field and he'd say, you sit here, and I've watched him crawl. I'm talking about on his belly through an open field on 2 hung up gobblers out there in full strut with some hens and crawl up and kill them suckers. And how he did, and even to this day, I look back and go, how is that? And no, there wasn't no reaping. There wasn't none of that stuff. It was just him using the terrain, and he knew the rolls and the heels and stuff, and he crawled right up and killed them. And I've seen him do that several times. And then, but Dad started turkey hunting in I think his first year of turkey hunting was 1968. And so nobody even turkey hunted back then much.
Well, there wasn't many to hunt either. I mean,
especially here.
Not in the South. I mean, down here there wasn't. I mean, we didn't even get into restock until probably the mid 70s or early 70s.
Yeah, we had them in the Appalachians here. We live in the Appalachian Mountains, so we had turkeys. I think. Well, there wasn't very many places that had them. The Ozarks in Missouri had them. Ozark in southern Missouri had them. The Appalachians had them here, and then Pennsylvania had them. There was just like 3 or 4 spots in the nation you could go even back then and hunt turkeys until the restoration programs and stuff like that started.
Well, we had turkeys down in the deep South here. And there was, Tom Kelly and that kind of people hunted, down in those. Now, that was back in the day when nobody would tell you anything.
No,
you couldn't get. If they did tell you, it was a lie.
Oh yeah, my dad told me one time after I started the YouTube channel, and I've only been doing it since 2017, so that was the first. Well, I take that back. I was actually. A lot of people don't know this, but how the YouTube, I don't know if y'all wanted to know how the YouTube thing got started or not.
Sure.
But the YouTube thing was a fluke. I mean, it was just absolutely a fluke. I mean, that's just all there was. So YouTube became a thing in 2005, I think, is when YouTube became a thing. And so I didn't know nothing about social media, or I didn't know nothing about stuff like that. I think I had a MySpace one time, which that says how old I, had a MySpace. Didn't even do that much, and I still had dial-up internet even then. So in 2008, okay, so this would have been 2008. So I'm a minister, and so I was pastoring the church. I was pastoring my first church at that time. Well, before that, before I took that church to pastor it, I'd been evangelizing. I evangelized for a long time when I was younger. Well, I still do, but I mean, that's what I did when I was in my 20s. Well, so I was on television, so I had a weekly TV ministry as an evangelist, and so I was familiar with cameras and being comfortable in front of a camera talking. So that part came easy because that's what I did. I preached and sang in front of the camera. Well, long story short, in 2008, the station I was at, it changed over to digital. And everything went into whatever they call it. I don't know that term, but everything. So they told us that we're going to have to start editing our own stuff, because back then I just took a VHS tape with about 4 programs on it and throwed it and said, "Here you go," and I let them edit it, and whatever came out, and that's what we watched on television. Well, when the guy that was over it said, "You got to start editing your own programs and give us an edited program," I'm like, oh my Lord, I don't know nothing about editing. I don't know nothing about computers or nothing like that. Well, you're going to have to learn. So he told me what program to get. So I didn't want to use any of the church stuff because I was afraid I'd screw it up. I'd mess it up, So that fall in 2008, I went out in bow season and just took a camera and throwed it up and just started filming, just started filming random stuff, and just me talking, me seeing deer and stuff. And I'd come back and I'd get on the editing stuff and I just practice editing, that. And I just started practicing that. It looked horrible, but I was trying to learn transposes and how to write stuff and how to scroll stuff. And I was just trying to learn. Well, so I actually I did a couple of bow hunting ones and I think I did one on broadheads that, and I thought, well, and so YouTube had become like a thing. And I thought, well, how do you upload, So my brother-in-law he taught me how to upload on YouTube. So my first video was like in the fall of 2008. Well, I posted like 3 or 4 videos, made a channel. It wasn't called Dell Outdoors then. It was called MDDell31 because that was my email. It still is. So it was MDDell31. And so I uploaded a couple of, 2 or 3 videos and didn't have any subscribers. I didn't know what subscribers were. I didn't know nothing about it. I was just uploading it just for fun. Well, so in the spring of 2009, I started turkey stuff, and it was horrible. None of that stuff exists except 2 videos on my YouTube channel still exist from 2009. I don't know if you've seen the one I did. It was an old one. I was a lot younger. I did on mouth call and beginner's mouth call. I did that one. It's got like 500,000 views in all them years. And then I did one on silent gobblers, and it was just me with a palm quarter out, turning it around to myself and just talking. I was just talking about turkey hunting. And then I did a couple of hunts that was absolutely horrible. You just saw a piece of a gobbler walk by the screen and me shoot it. And half of it was, it was like the camera pointed to the ground. You hear a gunshot and it was just awful. And, but I posted that stuff. Well, I posted like 4 or 5 videos that, in 2009, just for fun, never checked on them, never watched them, never checked on them. And so in 10, I posted like 3, and 11, I posted like 3 or 4, just 3 or 4 a year on turkey stuff. Well, I quit. So I moved back to Missouri. I had the opportunity to go pastor a church out there. And so I quit. I quit the YouTube. I got busy, and I don't know. I just got busy with life and got busy with stuff, and I just quit. And so I didn't upload nothing for like 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, like 3 years I was gone. I wasn't even interested in YouTube or nothing. So in 2016, I came home to Virginia for Christmas. We was up at my brother-in-law's house, and we was up there, and he asked me, he's like, "Hey, you still do them hunting things on YouTube?" And I said, "No." I said, "Nah." I said, "I ain't done one of them in like 3 years." And he looked on there, and I had like 1,700 subscribers, which ain't nothing, but I wasn't trying. But he said, some of these videos has got like 250,000 hits. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what? he said, some of these videos, man, has got like thousands and thousands of hits. And I'm like, are you kidding me? That's how dumb I was. I didn't know any of that stuff was going on, you know? So he said, you know, you need to do this and do it right. He said, you're really good at this. He said, you need to do it and try to do it, you know, more professional and actually do it. And so I got to thinking about it. And so after deer season 2016, when I came back from Christmas, so in the winter of January of 2017, I was living in Missouri. That whole winter, I was looking around for the channels and stuff, see what everybody else was doing. Well, in 2017, I basically started turkey season the same way everybody else on YouTube's doing. I was just trying to film hunts and do a couple teaching videos and trying to film hunts that looked horrible. You know, you could just see the gobbler walk past the screen and hear a shot, and it looked like crap. But I was trying to do better, and I named it Dell Outdoors, changed the name to Dell Outdoors. And so, but that whole spring, I wasn't getting any attraction. I mean, it was just like, I wasn't getting many views. So, I don't know, you know, then fall, deer season came along in 2017, and I got maybe a few more subscribers, but I got to looking, so I was getting discouraged about it because, you know, it just wasn't growing but like much. And so I was about to give up on it, to be honest, because, you know, life gets, you know, you got church and you got, you know, raising a kid and everything, and you get busy with life. And so I got to looking, and I was getting discouraged. And so the January and February of 2018, I just looked at all my videos, and I just thought, you know, the ones that are doing good is the ones where I'm just teaching. It ain't the hunting ones, because the hunting ones are crap. And because I didn't know how to self film, I still don't really good, still don't know how. But the ones that was getting more hits was the teaching ones, you know, where I was just teaching strategies. And so it hit me, and something hit me, and I thought, I wonder if people would be interested in a channel that was like an educational channel, but like 70-30. You know, that's what I was thinking, like 30% hunting, like 70% just teaching. But, you know, like you think, well, I got to have hunts. I got to go out here and film hunts. I got to produce hunts. because everybody else is doing it. That's what I got to do. But then I got to thinking, well, you know, everybody else and their mother is doing the same thing, but nobody's really teaching how to turkey hunt. You know, I mean, very, very few people when I started was even teaching how to turkey hunt. And so 2018, I thought, I'm going to give it one more go around. So 2018 season rolled around, and I just basically started doing the videos I do now still. I just broke down, and you know, you go to my channel, it's not like, here's how you cluck, here's how you purr, here's how you yelp. I mean, because I figure everybody's beyond that. And so I'm talking about deep strategies, advanced strategies of really how to kill turkeys that I've learned in, you know, 30 years of hunting them. And man, it just blew up. I'm talking like 2018, 2019, 2020, and 21 it just blew up. It just like, and people they love it. And I don't understand it because you know, it's just me talking, but I have had so many people though in the last 4 or 5 years, you know, tell me, you know, man, you helped me kill my first turkey. And like turkey season, I'll have like a bunch of pictures come in where people's killing their turkeys and sending me pictures and saying, this is my first gobbler. Or I was getting ready to quit. I tried 4 or 5 years to kill one and can't. But I found your videos, and now I'm starting to kill turkeys. And so that's kind of how the YouTube thing got started. Just a quick, you know, backstory.
Well, this definitely took off. That's for sure. How many subscribers you think? Well, I guess you know, but how many subscribers you have today?
I think right now it's a little over 50,000. It's like 51,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know, it grows mostly in turkeys because I don't do much in the summertime because I'm busy with other stuff. But if I did it all year long, I'd probably grow a lot more. But deer season and turkey season is kind of, you know, it keeps me busy. So
what?
So I'll get to. Yeah, go ahead.
What? Let's see. I'm trying to figure out how to put this. What makes you decide today I'm going to make this video on whatever, calling in a gobbler or fall hunting or, if it's deer season, setting up.
Yeah,
I mean, you just today you go, well, yeah, I hadn't really talked about that, or you just, I need to cover this.
Oh, man. Okay. It gets harder every year because after you do so many videos, you kind of run out of ideals because you're like, you can only talk about so much. But what I've been trying to do the last couple of years is throw some new stuff in there too. But I've actually went back and deleted so many old videos that just wasn't good quality. I didn't have a good camera back then, or the mic was bad, or I didn't have a mic, and the wind was blowing, and it just wasn't the best quality. And so I've actually went back and redone some of them better,
Oh yeah, like a newer updated version.
Yeah, and delete them old ones that delete them old ones that weren't very good, because you really don't want bad quality stuff to be the first thing people sees. You don't, because first impressions always make a difference. And so, but I don't know. Sometimes I'll just sit and I'll just think, have I talked about this? Well, yeah, but could I go a little bit deeper? Can I go into something a little bit more advanced? Can I do something? Can I kind of go around it a different way? And so far, I don't know, man. Sometimes I'll sit and I get worried that I'm going to run out of stuff to talk about. But it seems like I produce about 27 to 30 videos every spring from March to May and February to May. And somehow I come up with new ideals, and it's just sort of, it gets hard though, especially with the turkey stuff, because there's only so much you can talk about. The deer hunting stuff is a little easier. It's a little easier because you're not, you're sitting in a blind, or you're sitting in a stand, and you don't have to worry about their eyesight so much. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you got to still worry, but turkeys are just a really hard animal to film to hunt. It's just almost impossible.
That's why I don't even try.
No,
I'd rather
just
kill
even
them.
With the cameraman, it's hard.
Oh yeah,
even with the cameraman. But I've been fortunate enough to have the turkey thing kind of to myself for a while, until recently in the last 2 or 3 years, which I don't care. I count it as a compliment. But I've noticed the last 2 or 3 years, more and more channels are starting to do what I do. And I'm not. And that's fine. I'm not saying I'm the originator, but me and Shane Simpson was one of the first 2 or 3 turkey stuff that you even found on YouTube.
Yeah, we've had Shane on before. He's a good guy.
I can remember when me and Shane Simpson was like the only 2 to 3. So I am really, even though I wasn't doing it full time, I'm like one of the original YouTubers that was doing turkey stuff, and back in the day. And but I didn't start doing it professionally, I guess you would say, until 2017. But I can remember when Shane Simpson was just starting out. In fact, when I subscribed to Shane Simpson, he only had like 3,000 or 4,000 followers.
Yeah.
And I remember when Jonathan, or Catman, I remember when he had like 1,000 followers, and I was one of the first 1,000. And he was just a kid learning how to hunt,
Catman.
Well, I like to watch him. I've never met him, but he seems like he'd be a pretty cool guy.
Yeah, we tried to get up together and do a hunt together. We ain't yet, but we're one of these days we're going to try. But it's really hard to film my style of hunting, especially with the turkey stuff. Now, deer hunting's a little easier because you're sitting in the stand or you're sitting in a blind, you got a tripod. Turkey hunting is really hard to film because the only person that I've seen do it, and I've told him that he's just got it down. I don't. I suck at it. But Dave Owens has got it down right. Now, me and Dave Owens hunt so much alike, it's scary. And so when I see him hunting, it's how I hunt. I'm very aggressive. I'm very, I'm in their face. I don't, I'll sit for 2 or 3 hours if I have to and wait on him. But hey, if I have to move 100 times, I'm going to move 100 times. If I have to move 4 or 5 yard increments, or if I have to go around side of a hill, or I got to go all the way around side of half a mile the other side of the hill, I'll do whatever I got to do. And so when you're self-filming, it's really hard to do that, and I still suck at it. I still, man, and I'm so glad that my channel don't require hunts to be filmed for it to grow, because people come to me to look, and it's been the one good thing is like when people come up to you and say, you know what, I watch the Hunting Public, or I watch Catman, or I watch Cuz, or I watch this, or I watch this, and I watch Dave for the hunting, but I come to you to learn how to do it.
Yeah.
It's like I come to you to learn how to do it. When I want to learn, I'll come to you, and then I'll watch these other guys for entertainment. So I think I've still got sort of that. I still got that part where people, they just know me from where I can break down a strategy. And I'm not saying I'm the most perfect, because I certainly ain't. I still make mistakes, and Lord knows there's probably guys a lot better than I am. But I've had a lot of gobblers ride the back of my truck too. So I think I'm qualified to say I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, I tell people that I'm a pretty good deer hunter, but I think or a fair deer hunter, but I believe I'm a pretty good turkey hunter. Well, me and Dustin both, but because I'm like you now, I got a late start. I didn't start turkey hunting until I was in my early 20s, I guess.
I was 30.
Well, I only did it because I thought you could sleep late. Which you can. I guess you can go midday hunt if you want to, but that's what I thought. I hated. I just hated getting, when you're young, having to get up, 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. Lord, did I not know that, heck, you got to get up earlier. But for some reason, I can sure get up early to turkey hunt. Now, deer hunting is still kind of rough to get out of that bed. But for a turkey, I won't even go to bed if that's what it takes. But,
well, if whatever it takes. Now I'm kind of like that too, and I guess that's where our passion lies. Is if it's a big deer, if I'm hunting a particular big buck, I can get totally wired like I can turkey hunting, and totally fall to pieces, and totally get that shaking, and totally get that adrenaline, and I can get obsessed with that. Well, not obsessed, but I can get very, very into hunting that big deer. But to me, go out like now, I will come Saturday or come bow season. I'll go out and shoot a few does, or I'll go out and shoot a decent little buck for the freezer, and I'm happy. I'm glad to be out there. But I don't shake, or I don't fall apart, and I don't like, oh man, I've killed so many deer, and I'm not saying that to brag, but I've killed so many deer. I'm over that part. But a turkey, if there's a 2-year-old, he's out there gobbling and strutting, it's still like I've killed my first, and I've killed way over 150, 160 gobblers in my life. But a turkey, still to this day, it still gives me that rush that a deer don't, unless he's a big deer. That makes sense?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I used to be that way with deer, and I got obsessed with one. This has probably been 25 years ago now. And I hunted that deer so hard. He was a monster. And I'm talking about every chance after work on the weekends, I was there. I did everything I could think to do. I saw him one time live, and a coyote messed it up, and he got killed a couple of weeks later. I wasn't hunting public land, but there was all kinds of private around there. And I physically was sick. I was going to quit hunting or deer hunting. I'd put everything I had into that deer, and I was sitting at home, and I said, you know what? This is ridiculous. I've ruined that whole season obsessed with this deer to the point that I don't even want to deer hunt anymore. So, oh yeah, do I want to kill a big deer? Oh yeah. And I killed a real nice one up right here behind the house last year, but I just am not going to get so tore up. I don't know. You let it get to me that point, sure. Do I want to go to Illinois if I go up there? Yeah. I want to kill a monster, right, and I'm going to try my best. Of course, most of those are short trips, but I've hunted the same spot of ground down here for over 25 years. Now there's no monsters. Yeah. There's some big, there's some nice deer, but there's no giant booners on it. And after that, that's where I went and that's what I do. And, I've even both my kids, kind of, you can hunt them like that if you want to, but, I don't do it anymore. And, trust me, if a 170 walks out, you doggone right, I'm going to shoot it. And I'm probably going to be so shook up I couldn't even dial the phone.
Well, I should.
But,
right.
But,
well, that's kind of like I am. I go out in the Midwest every November and stay. Until about Thanksgiving, because the chances of getting a big deer out there is just so much better than here. Your average. Now we got some big deer around here around the house, but I live right here on the Virginia Tennessee border in Southwest Virginia. So the big deer that's killed around here, like in my county or in the surrounding counties, we have some 140, 50 inch, 60 inch deer, but you're gonna go 2 or 3 miles back on national forest to find them. You're going to go back. Them guys that's killing them on a regular basis, they're going back 2 or 3 miles. In fact, I got a buddy that kills probably at least 130 inch or better. In fact, 2 years ago he killed a 170, but he's going way back in national forest, and that's fine, but I've told him, and I think it goes back to your desire, but I've told him, I'm like, look, I'm just not there. I'm not leaving the car at 3:00 in the morning to hike back on national forest 2.5, 3 miles where there's no cell phone signal, that if you broke your leg or you got hurt, you just be in a world of mess, and then you go back there and sit for days and days and not see a deer. But then when you do see one, it's usually the one you want to shoot. I just ain't there. It ain't worth it to me. I can't do it. I'd rather get in the car and drive 10 hours or 7 hours or 12 hours and go somewhere where I can shoot a deer like that. You know what I'm saying? It's not that I'm lazy. It's just I don't have the passion to go back 3 miles on national forest or 2 miles on national forest and backpack one out.
Yeah.
I just, when I was 20,
do it.
yeah, when I was 20, 25 maybe, but I'm not doing it. I'm listen, last year I killed a real nice 8-pointer in Kentucky, and man, I drug that thing just up the hill a little bit, and I was so glad to see that truck coming up and go right up to him. And I'm like, that's exactly what I want.
Yep.
It's like, because I get the thrill, I get to hunt them, but you just can't do that around here. Like a deer around here, an average deer around here, unless you're going back on national forest or something, a big deer around here, if he's 110 inches or he's 115 inch 8-pointer, 120 inches, you better be glad that you see something like that. Whereas if you go 4 or 5 hours east, or you go for me, you could go 3 or 4 hours north to Ohio, and it totally changes. And so for the deer stuff, I'm going to get in the right zip code. That's just what I'm going to do. And I'm not going to, I'm not going to waste my time around here. And so I don't even deer hunt much around here. I bow hunt like somewhere, in the evenings or something, and I kill some stuff with a freezer, but I'm just not that passionate. Now, turkey hunting, like I said, I'll be gone 2.5 months, and I'll get up, unless it's storming or raining or thundering and lightning over my head. I'll get up every morning and hunt like a dog.
Now, do you, when you're hunting like that, are you by yourself generally, or are you hunting with friends? Or?
Yeah, it depends. I get a lot of invites to come places, and sometimes I do go on them places, and so I'm usually with whoever's invited me. And then a lot of times I'm by myself. I mean, I'd rather be by myself because, there's been so many times, man, when the camera has saved a gobbler's life, because I can't, when you've got 2 people, especially with a turkey, there's so many times where I could have crawled to that turkey and killed him by myself, but you're not going to get it on camera. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or I could have moved, or I could have done something, but because I've got another guy to worry about, it kind of makes you it kind of makes you want, and that's why people on these cable shows and TV shows and even YouTube, they want to go sit in a field. Nothing against that, but they want to go sit in a field in a blind, pop up blind with decoys because they want pretty footage.
Yes.
But I don't like turkey hunting that way. Now I won't say I won't kill one. Listen, if there's a gobbler and he's in a field and I can't get to him, I'll go pop a blind up. You better believe it. If I'm pressed for time the next day, but I just don't like hunting that way. I would rather, now deer hunting, I can go sit in the blind for 10 hours straight and take my lunch with me, deer hunting, if it's in a good place and pop up blind. But I ain't doing that turkey hunting. I can't. To me, it's just not turkey hunting. Now, I'm not saying that to knock anybody that does, because, people that's older or people that's got kids, that sometimes you have to. But for me, this is just my opinion. Now, anybody that's listening to this podcast, don't get offended. But to me, I think turkey hunting has almost become a lost art form the way that it should be. Setting your back up against a tree, knees to your face, and calling that gobbler in. No decoys, no reaping, none of that stuff. Just you and the gobbler, and you letting him come find you in the timber, or maybe in the edge of a field or whatever, but in the timber, back up against a tree, knees to your face, and you call him in. To me, that's still, you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
that's
I know
still
exactly
turkey
what
hunting.
you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying. And that's why I think, deer hunting here in the South, and we are growing some bigger deer than, people have learned a little bit. We just don't have the nutrition they have out in the Midwest and that kind of thing. But I think, and it may be the same thing with turkey hunting. I don't know. You tell me what, but I think it might be just a tad easier up there. You can see for miles. You only got patches of woods. You come to the South or, even the East, let's just say the East, not even just the South, but I mean, you just got expanses of hardwoods and mountains, and you better be in shape, and you better have a little bit of woodsmanship skills.
Oh, yeah.
And killing a turkey in the woods, in the timber, to me is 100 times harder than sitting on the edge of a field. Now,
absolutely.
A field bird's hard to kill, but not if you've got a ground blind and 4 or 5 decoys to stick out there. It's a whole, it changes the whole game. Or if, I don't reap, I don't do that kind of stuff. Now, if it's legal, people want to do it,
I don't either.
More power to them.
But to me, I'm sorry, and I not to offend nobody again, but to me, reaping is it's not turkey hunting. It's just not. You're losing the art form. To me, and I agree with you. Now, field birds can be the most hardest, aggravatingest turkeys to kill but it's not because they're harder to hunt. It's that you can't move on them. You can't get closer to them. So if they don't want to come and they're henned up or they're just whatever mood, they are terrible and hard to kill. And I've seen some field turkeys. I just want to oh God, it about drive me crazy. But to get a pressured hardwoods gobbler, to me, that's what separates the men from the boys. To me, that's what separates. And for me to call that gobbler, and for him to come looking for me, and I've had people say, "Why don't you use decoys?" And man, there's been times, I guarantee you, if I'd have had a decoy, I would have killed so many more turkeys. Guarantee it, because they just wouldn't commit. But to me, and I learned this back when I was in my early days of turkey hunting. If I don't have a decoy out there and the gobbler just don't come in for whatever reason, I don't know, he just messes up or he just goes the other way or he's got it, whatever reason. If I don't have a decoy out there, then I can't blame it on that decoy. And so I don't know what happened, but I have seen many, many times where a decoy has screwed up a hunt.
100%. I can tell you, because I've towed them, or I have to, and where I think I might need them. But I would say more times than not, that decoy has killed the hunt. Either they hang up because they see the decoy and they're not, she's supposed to be coming to them, or I would never, and I know people love it, but they'll stick out a Jake. I wouldn't even carry a Jake decoy. I've seen them go down here. Jakes, they're just little gangbangers. I mean, all they're going to do is run out there and beat up these gobblers around here. I've seen gobblers turn and run, and all it is a Jake decoy.
Yeah. Absolutely, me too.
So,
and a lot of times, now I don't believe in, and this will probably be, this is what gets me in trouble every year, which I don't care because I'm right and they're wrong. I'm sorry, but the biggest criticism I get is that I preach against call shy. I don't believe in call shy. I never have believed in call shy. I believe it's the stupidest myth to turkey hunting that's ever existed. But I know a lot of Alabama guys, Georgia guys, a lot of old timers that say, oh, turkeys are call shy. You start calling for the season and that screws them up. It's not call shy. They're not call shy. I think that's just the biggest myth that ever existed in turkey hunting. But I do believe in decoy shy. I do believe they get shy to a decoy.
We experienced that this year. We went to Canada and hunted, and we hunted an Amish farm that the Amish guy and his nephew, they had decoyed birds to the point that if they saw a decoy, they turned and went the other way. I mean, they knew it was a decoy. Yeah. I mean, it's for sure. And as far as birds being call shy, now my opinion on call shy is I don't think they're so. It's not the call. Maybe they can get used to that same call, but I think they just related. That's not a turkey. That's a guy over there hunting. You know, I think they're kind of like deer. They know when you're in the woods, especially if you spooked them or something.
Yeah. I don't think that they have the mind to say that's a hunter and that's danger. I don't think it's that so much that they don't think like a human. And I think we give them, and this is what I've said so many times, we give turkeys and deer too, but a lot of times turkeys, we give them this Disney-like brain. And, and I don't think it's that. To me, I think what makes turkeys, quote, brings up call shy is that the person that's calling, that gobbler's responding, he gobbles one or two times, but then when he flies off the roost, he goes the other way. And they say, well, right there, see, that proves it. I started calling, he walked the other way. All right, maybe there's a lot of things he sees out there that you don't see. Maybe he sees a hen out there in the other direction. Maybe he's got a strut zone over there he's going to. He just don't come your way for whatever reason, but you're back there calling, you think, oh, he's call shy. And I love to go places where turkeys are, quote, call shy, and go in there and go by myself and they leave me alone and go in there on the first, second day and call a turkey up and be cutting at him and everything else and them double gobbling, triple gobbling. And then, and you're like, well, what happened? One of the stories I love to tell, and I get a lot of laughs, but it's a true story. I mean, it's absolutely. But one of the most, and this happened back when I was like in my mid-20s. So this was long before anybody even knew who I was, and I didn't. But I was preaching a revival at this church up in Central Virginia, and it was during turkey season, and so. When I would go in revivals during turkey season, I'd try to find me a place to hunt while I was there, in turkey season. Well, so I was up there at this revival, and so this guy that was a deacon in the church, he had a 300 acres on a hillside up there, and we went up there and he said, yeah, you can turkey hunt while you're here. Well, I was supposed to be there for like 4 days. I was in a 4-day revival up there. So long story short, I go there and I was going to stay with them at their house to stay on the property there where I wouldn't have to drive. And it was going to stay on a hotel. So I stayed with these people. So I get there on like a Saturday night. And so I start the revival on Sunday morning. Well, Sunday afternoon rather, his brother comes up on a 4-wheeler and he's an old timer. Like when I say old timer, he got bibbed overalls on, flannel shirt, he's just one of these old timers, bless his heart. So he came up and he said, Oh, he said, you the preacher that's going to be hunting up here. I said, yeah, I'm going to try it. And he said, well, now listen, he said, now I got a blind down here and that's where I'm going to be. He said, I'm going to be down here in my blind around this food plot. And I said, oh, okay. I said, all right, well, all right, that's fine. And he looked at me. I'll never forget it. And it's honest to God. He looked at me. He said, now listen, you ain't one of these guys that go around here yakking on the turkey call all the time, are you? And I remember thinking, well, I don't know. Well, what do you mean? I said, well, yeah, I call. He's like, well, you can't do that here. And I'm like, what? I'm just like in my mid-20s, so I'm just like a kid. So I don't want to disrespect my elder. And I was like, well, what do you mean? He's like, well, these turkeys are call shy. When he said call shy, I just remember wanting to roll my eyes, and I thought, oh God, here's a call shy guy. Here he goes. Here's a call shy guy. And he's like, yeah, no. He said, these turkeys up here, they don't like calling. He said, now you go in here and you can yelp a few times and cluck a few times, and then you wait. And then after a couple hours, you call again. But he said, you can't be in here calling all the time. They don't like it. And I'm like, they don't like it? And he's like, yeah, they don't like it here. Well, so he wasn't going to hunt with me. So I remember the next morning, I heard him coming up on his four-wheeler, and he went down, drove his four-wheeler all the way to his blind before daylight. And I go up behind the house, and I start climbing up a hill on top of that back ridge. And I get up there, and, I'm way away from him. So I'm up there, and I'm hooting like an owl and nothing. So finally, about 8 o'clock, I get one to gobble. And, man, I sit up on this gobbler, and I'm over there, man, and I'm like, I'm like, oh, well, he comes back and he gobbles, and I move around on him 3 or 4 times, and, man, I get this gobbler fired up, and I'm down on my mouth call, just cutting at him, and, I mean, he's got, man, he's coming back gobbling. And he starts coming in, and I had to move a couple times on him, but I called that thing, and I mean, called him all the way in, cutting and yelping at him. And, all this calling, he comes right into me, wind up shooting him about 9:30. So I get the turkey, start walking back down the hill. By 9:30, both brothers are sitting on the back porch of the house. The guy's already out of his blind, sitting back there with his brother, and they're drinking coffee, and they're talking. Well, I'm walking through the backyard with this big old gobbler across my back. Oh, man, you got one. Wow, man, that's awesome. So I put the gobbler on the porch, and they're looking at him. And, man, the guy with the bibbed overalls, he's like, oh, I told you they was here. I said, yeah, man, they're here. And he's like, boy, that's a good one. Yeah, man, that's a good one. So he was like a 22-pound gobbler, and so the next day I went back, didn't get one the next day, but I worked another one. Well, the third day I was there, so it had been on Monday, then Tuesday, then Wednesday. So it had been on Wednesday, so this was the last day I was going to be there because I had to go back home on Thursday. So this was like the last morning. So I get up there, man, and like at 10, it was about 9 o'clock again, I get this turkey fired up on this other ridge, and this gobbler absolutely, he's going insane. So I get up on this ridge, this turkey, and I'm talking, I'm cutting at him, and this gobbler, and you know how you'll find that gobbler every once in a while that just wants hard cutting at him. He just, when you stop cutting at him, he'll start going away, but you start cutting at him, he'll start coming closer. And it don't happen a lot, but you'll find that gobbler every once in a while. Well, that's the way this gobbler was, and I had to almost just cut at him till I lost my breath, just and he's going, oh boy, he's coming back gobbling, and then when I'd go quiet and let him come look for me, he'd start going away. So then I'd get back on the call, and here he come back. So I knew this gobbler was wanting hard calling. I called this thing, I yelped this thing in and cutted this thing all the way to my face and shot him about 20 yards. And I mean, absolutely, I called so much to this gobbler, you'd have thought there ain't no way a man could call that much in that gobbler. But this gobbler wanted hard calling, and you'll find them like that.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes. Well, so that's what this turkey wanted. And I called this sucker in just every breath, just nonstop calling just about. But that's what he wanted. And when I finally figured it out, I called him in. Shot that turkey. I go back down the hill. They're sitting back on the back porch again, drinking coffee and talking. so I get down through the backyard, and I got this gobbler's bigger. He's like 23 pounds, about an inch and almost inch and a half vert. He's like a big 40-year-old. And so I walk through the backyard. I got this big old monstrous turkey. And I throw it down. He's, man, that's a bigger one. Wow, that's crazy. Wow, look at that. Boy, that's a heavy turkey. And man, they're having a come apart. So I was a little bit younger, more snippy, I guess, than I am today. But I said it kind of as a sharp, a nice rebuke, but sort of trying to teach the man. And I said. And I called his name. I said, hey, and I called his name. I said, you told me these turkeys up here were call shot. When I was up here Sunday, you said these turkeys were call shot. And he said, oh, yeah, they're call shot. I said, so these turkeys, they don't like calling. Now, I never told him how I killed the first one on Monday. I never said a word. And I never said a thing. And so he said, yeah, they don't like it. They don't like calling. And I said, well, listen. I'm going to tell you how I killed both of these turkeys. And I sat there and told him how I killed the first one. And then I told him about how I killed this one and how I just had to yell. And I put the mouth call in my mouth, and I was showing him how I was calling. And he said, oh, I don't believe. I said, I'm telling you the gospel truth. I said, this is what I was doing. I sat there and told him how I killed these turkeys. And he's like, well, he said, that never happens for me. And I'm telling you, before I left there, I said, now see, it's not call shot. I said, but here's what I told him. I said, well, somebody forgot to tell these two turkeys they were call shot. And he got real kind of red in the face. And that's exactly the words I said. I said, well, somebody forgot to tell these two turkeys they were call shot. And but before I left there, I was trying to tell him it's a myth. And you know what he still told me? He still told me, nah, I still believe they're call shot. It's a mental thing. It's a mental thing. That's what it is. It's a mental thing. And when you get hung up on that myth and you get that in your brain, you're not going to call as much. You're going to be, I have seen guys, I had a friend a few years ago. He was so scared to yelp on his box call. He was afraid he was going to call too much. And I mean, he was sitting there and you could see him contemplating whether to call or not. He's just sitting there just intimidated to call because in their brain they're like, yep, it ain't gonna work, it's not gonna work. And then when they call and nothing happens, they're like, well, I screwed it up. No, turkeys hear turkeys every day of the year. It's not call shot. They hear turkeys every single day. And how many turkeys do you think in the spring hear a hen on the other hillside over there, and by the time he gets to her, she's gone and he don't see her?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It happens every day. And so I think it's just a myth. I think I've seen it just a bit, just like there's a lot of myths though. I did that video on my channel, one of the popular videos, myths and lies of turkey hunting. Call shot is one of them. You can't call a turkey down a hill. That's another one. I've heard that one. A turkey won't come down a hill. You got to get above him. Really? I've called turkeys down a mountainside. I've called turkeys all the way off a ridge into a holler and up the other side.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
in fact, I did it this past year. Yeah, I did it this 2025. I called a gobbler. Him on a tube call. He was like 400 yards away on the neighbors. He come all the way up that ridge, come down the hollow where I was at, come up where I was at. I called him for 400 yards to about 8 yards and 9 yards when I shot him, about took his head off.
That's exciting.
And in fact, I couldn't even show his head in the picture because it was just disintegrated. But but I called him for 400 yards to like 8-9 yards from me. But they'll come. Our turkeys won't cross the creek. I've watched them fly across I've watched them fly across a big wide looking creek from one side to the other to get to me.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, do they like to? No. I mean,
no.
They're on the other side of the river, but they cross all the time. They wade through
They'll
water.
Cross all the time.
They wade through water all the time. Little creeks, If you hunt long enough, just like you have, we have, you'll see it all. Yep. Everything they say they don't do. Now, they might not do it all the time, but they do it. They have to do it. They live in the woods.
They'll do it all the time. And what you have to do is you got to find, okay, if that ain't working, then I'm gonna find something that does work. This turkey is killed. The one thing, deer and turkey, but you'll hear especially about deer. This unkillable buck. He's so smart and he's so old and he's so just smart. He's unkillable. No, he's not. He is. I guarantee you, in the rut, he is killable.
Oh, I think every one of them's killable, especially in a rut. I think they're all killable. Yeah, but
they're all killable. And I've had some guys turkey hunting to where they like, this gobbler is so smart, and this turkey is so, and they'll put this like I said, this Bambi Disney like brain in them, and like, oh, he just does. No, listen, he's horny. He wants to kill. He wants to breed a hen. He wants to breed a doe. Guess what? You got to find him, and you got to get on the right. But do they get smart? Does a 5-6-year-old gobbler, is he smarter than a 2-year-old? Absolutely. Is a 5-6-year-old buck smarter than a yearling or a year and a half? Yes, absolutely. But
I'm smarter than I was when I was 15. Well, unless you ask
absolutely.
My wife. Well, my wife will say no, but but I mean, you're 100% right. I mean, that just comes with age and experience, that they're just more cautious. I mean, you don't get to live that long, especially a turkey. His life ain't that long anyway, or a big deer for that matter. When you're living in the wood, something's trying to, maybe not a big buck or something, so I'm trying to kill him every day, but a turkey, from the time he's in an egg till he dies, there's something trying to eat him every day. They're going to be cautious, always.
Absolutely. I don't know. Your listeners can go to my YouTube channel and watch it's about a 4-year-old. It was back in 2021 when I killed this turkey, but on the 2021 season, it's on video where I killed that big 27-pounder. I got him mounted here in my trophy room. Big 27-pound, my biggest gobbler. He's 27-pound, had 2 11-inch beards. He's got 22 inches of beard total, and he's got an 1.5-inch spur. And I killed him in right here in Tennessee, but right across state line. So this is an East Tennessee gobbler, which they don't normally get that big around here. This was like an Iowa gobbler or Illinois gobbler.
27-pound turkey, yeah, in the South.
And and so this gobbler though, he just was different. He was just different. And but luckily I had a cameraman that day, and the guy that I was hunting with had actually seen this gobbler another time, and he couldn't get him killed. Well, the day we was up there, we set up there. Actually, the tree I killed him at, we was there at daylight, and we left because nothing was gobbling. It was one of them quiet mornings. Nothing was happening. So it was about an hour and a half after daylight. We was just gonna go try to find one. I'm like, no, this ain't working. This ain't happening. So we're gonna go. So we go back down. We start working around the farm, and we're going like different places and calling, trying to locate them. Nothing. So it was about 10 o'clock, and he said, well, let's just go down the road and try another spot. And I've always said go back around the mountain. I said, well, let's go back up there before we leave. Let's go back up where we was at daylight, and just try it again. Let's just, before we leave, let's go back. Go back around the mountain. So we go back there right to the spot we was at daylight, and set up, start calling, and we can see the top of this field. It's pasture land. You can see it in the video. It's like 400 yards across that pasture. It's a big old pasture on top of a mountain. And I sit there, and we're just going to sit there and see if a midday gobbler just starts gobbling. We're just going to sit there about an hour, and then we're just going to go on, get some lunch, and then go on down to the other place and hunt the rest of the day. Long story short, we get up there, and I'm up there with my box calling, a mouth calling, trying to sound like 2 hens. And I look out about 400 yards, or about 300 yards, I guess, and I see this black thing out there moving, and I thought it was a calf. That's how big this thing looked. I thought it was a cow out there. And I got to looking, and this thing's just walking out in the corner, and I thought, well, is that a cow? And I got to looking, so I shoot a scope on my shotgun. So and it's a low-power scope, but I cranked that scope up, and I looked. Oh, it wasn't a calf. It was a gobbler. And I said, oh, man, there's a gobbler out there in the corner. He's way out there. He's trying to zoom in on him, and he can't see him. And so we're sitting there, and I'm watching this turkey, and I'm watching him through my scope. And I see his head looking, and he's looking and he's just feeding. He's kind of feeding along. He's out there by himself, and he's feeding along. It's like 10:30 in the morning. He's just feeding, but he's putting his head up. And he's just feeding. So I start yelping at him, and he throws that head up, and I know he heard me. And so I'm yelping at him and looking, and I said, he heard me. He starts moving closer, and all of a sudden, I could tell just by this turkey's body language. I knew this turkey was a big turkey. And in my head, while I'm working this turkey, now it just goes back to experience. In my head, now see, this happens in the woods all the time. You just don't see it, but I was just lucky enough to get to see it in the field situation and watch him come from like 200 some yards to me. So he's out there and he starts strutting. When he starts strutting, I don't say a word to him. I don't call. I don't say anything. And he drops out of strut and he starts moving 15, 20 yards. And then he starts looking. He's looking. But the whole time he's looking, I knew he was looking for me. I don't say nothing. I ain't calling because I'd already knew just from experience, if I call this turkey, I'm going to screw this whole thing up. I'm going to screw this whole thing up if I call to him. So he just kept working. He starts slowly coming. He knew where I was at. He knew where that sound was, but he was looking for that hen, but he wasn't seeing her. Well, we're in the edge of the field, or in the edge of the woods in the field there, and he's looking for me. So I let him keep walking, and my camera guy, he's like, hey, call to him. You going to call to him? I said, no. 10 minutes later, he's like, hey, you going to call to him? I said, no. I said, just be still. And this turkey keeps walking slowly to me, and he's like 200 yards now. And he starts coming a little bit, 180, 170, but he's just walking, but he's taking his slow time. And there's a dip in the field. There's a dip that goes down the field, and it takes him like 30 minutes to get to that dip. He's walking so slow, but the whole time he's looking, and then he starts strutting every once in a while, and he's strutting, and he throws his head up, and he's strutting again, then he throws his head up, and he starts walking a little bit closer to that dip. And he starts strutting. Every time he strut, I wouldn't call to him. And so finally, my buddy, he told me, he's like, hey, you need to call to him. I said, no. I said, I ain't calling to him. Just be still. And so this turkey, and so finally he starts getting down that dip, which is about 80, 90 yards from me in the dip of the field. And I tell him, I said, when he gets in that dip, I'm going to call. I'm going to call to him. I said, when he gets in that dip. Now, why did I wait till he got in the dip to call to him? Because he can't see me.
He can't see you. That's exactly right.
If I would have called to him when he was out there strutting 150, 180 yards and 100, 200 yards, guess what he would have done? He'd have thrown the brakes on.
Yeah. Well,
no, he wouldn't have picked me up, but he would have been looking toward that sound, and he would have known he should have been seeing that hen out in that field. And the whole time he would have stepped there and he would have been in that strut zone just like old turkeys do. He'd have stayed there at 150 yards the whole morning, and we'd have never killed him.
Well, there's no need to call when they're coming to you anyway. I mean, if you can watch him.
Well, but see. Yeah, but see, it would have fooled a lot of guys because they'd have said, well, he stopped coming in, and he's turning, and a few times he turned like he was going to walk away, and people was like, oh, I need to call to him, and he's going to leave. And that's why he kept saying call to him, because he's going to walk away. And I was like, he ain't going nowhere. And so when he got in the dip of the field, I knew he couldn't see me. He knew he was going to have to come up out of that dip. And so I pointed I had the gun pointed, and you can watch him in the video. I start yelping to him a little bit and talking to him, and it wasn't 10 minutes, man. 5 minutes, he come up out of that dip right in front of my gun barrel, come right to me, and I shot him about 25 yards. And so I called him from like 300 yards all the way to 25 in that field. And so when I go up there and we do the hero and we're talking about the hunt, he's like, and I start telling him why I didn't call to him. You know what he told me? He's like, and that's why you killed as many and I haven't. He said, because if I'd have been by myself, I'd have called to him. He said, because I would have been thinking, well, I want him to know I'm here. I want him to know I'm here. And I'm afraid if I don't keep him knowing I'm here, he's going to leave. No, but see, again, that's the difference in a 2-year-old and a 5-6-year-old turkey. A 2-year-old would have probably just come right on and run you over, or a Jake. But when you get to an older class of turkey, they're going to have a smaller area, smaller strut zone, and you're just going to have to play with them different. And but you learn that over the years. Same thing with a buck. A buck, you were talking earlier. I know we're going back to deer hunting, turkey hunting here.
Oh, that's fine.
It's like this. A buck people get all excited about, especially like in timber. Like we have canopy here. It's like 80% canopy. We don't have very many fields, or we don't have many. We don't have any agricultural nothing. It's all just pasture land stuff when there is fields. So it's pretty much hardwoods. But you take these ridges around Appalachia here in Southwest Virginia, and probably in Alabama too, in places, northern Alabama. A buck, he will be, he can be 2-3 miles in 2 days by following one ridge line if he's on a hot doe. Mm. And it may take him 2 or 3 weeks to get back to that place. And that's why, you know what I'm saying? Whereas you get into Midwest and you get into broken woodlot stuff, it's more. They're more. I'm not saying they're easy, but they're more easier to pattern.
I agree 100%. Mm-hmm.
Because when you have just miles of ridges and miles of saddles and miles, and that's why I don't think that you can hunt the rut the same here as you can in Missouri, and I know you can't, because here I can the 1st of November I could go to where there's 2 or 3 hot scrapes in Missouri, where in northern Missouri I can go 2-3 hot scrapes, and I can sit there, throw some OP in it, and sit there, and long enough he's gonna find his way through there. You can and then here you don't hunt scrapes here. You can sit over a scrape. I've done it. You can sit over a hot scrape that's been worked that night or that morning before daylight, and you can sit there all day. You ain't gonna see that deer.
No, that's what you just said. It. He worked it before daylight.
You ain't seen it.
That's why they are.
Because he's already halfway, he's somewhere else. But when you get into broken woodlots, it's like that they'll make their rounds to find them does, and they don't find them, they'll cruise around. But here, they can go 2 miles with a hot doe. And, and so it's just harder. It's just a harder deal to hunt. And that's why I don't like to hunt here. I want to go back to Missouri. I want to go back to Indiana. I want to go back to,
I feel the same way about the wind here. Out in the Midwest or out West, I mean, you've got a pretty constant.
Yeah.
If it's blowing out of the east, it's blowing out of the east. Here with these hills, mountains, and hollers. Yeah. I mean, I can have an east wind and go, that's really the way that I should be hunting. And I get down there, and and next thing I know, it's coming out of the north or swirl to the south. Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things that I find it funny. You see them on those TV shows. The wind was out of the north, so I approached from the south. Well, you know what? Yeah. When you've got 10 miles of nothing but hardwoods and hollers and ravines, and by God, sometimes you just got to go with the wind if you want to hunt that area or get in there, or at least it is for me here.
Yeah, what I do, and I teach this a lot too, and I learned this. So I learned this trick back probably when I was 20 years old, and I started doing this. I've been doing this for 20 some years probably. And I've been doing it more and more when I get in situations like you're talking about, and especially like where I live now. So what I do is early season, I'm a big believer in deer scent. I want to smell like a deer, not on my clothes, but I want deer scent out there. Back when I was growing up, when I was just a kid, Dad used to buy that fox pea and coon pea and cover scent, But it occurred to me, why would you want to buy this? Smell like a deer. Smell like a deer out there, And so I take anything like, not maybe in October, not knowing heat, but I use that scrape juice fatal bow hunting. It's called Bow Hunter Obsession by Scrape Juice, and I'll take that, and it's got interdigital gland, in it. It's deer urine, but it's got interdigital gland mixed in with it, which is the gland that they track each other with. Mm-hmm. And so I'll take that, and I'm such a believer. There's 3 things that I don't leave home without when it comes to deer hunting. My weapon, of course, but that's pretty easy. I mean, but I'm talking about not just my weapon, because we kind of know that. But I have a pair of binoculars, and I have deer scent, and I pretty much know I have it on me. My Ziploc bag, I don't leave the truck without it. but and my deer call, I have a grunt call with me, even in early season, because deers are hearing stuff like that. Now I'm not on it constantly like a turkey, I'm but but deer call, deer scent, and my binoculars. That's the three things I don't leave the truck without. And every time I'm in, I'll do it opening day Saturday. I will drag me a rag, put a drag rag on, and I'll drag to my blind, and instead of going to the back door, I'll go around it. So in case they smell, if they're following that scent, I don't want them coming to my back door of the blind. I'll kind of go inside of it in the window and I'll hang that rag up. But then I've got two more rags where I've already sprayed down that Ziploc bag, and I'll hang it in front and I'll hang it over to the side. That way I've got three rags with that deer scent blowing out through the woods as a scent shield. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
I want that shield out there for when the wind does kick. And is it 100%? No, nothing's 100%, nothing. But like you said, where I'm going to hunt Saturday, I don't. The one thing I don't like about that place is that stupid wind. You could have a problem. It may blow a particular way predominantly, but then because you're under a hill, it's like, oh, there it goes. Yeah. Oh, there it goes that way. There it goes that way. Because you got them. You got that circling. But I have seen in that spot deer come downwind to me last year. Absolutely the wrong direction to wind, but I believe it's because I had all that stinking deer scent out there. I want to be able to smell it. I want it so thick that I can get a whiff of it every once in a while and go, Lord have mercy. Well, I want that out through there.
Have you not walked and been scouting looking for a deer? You can smell them sometimes. I mean, especially during rut time. I mean, you there's deer there. You can smell them. I
smelt a buck in Ohio 2 years ago. This was 2023 season, and I never hunted this place before. I was up on this small little piece of property above a lake, and I'd never been in there. And the second day I was in there, over the ridge, man, I was on one side of the ridge, and over the ridge, I could smell a rutting buck. I mean, you could smell that sucker. And I sat there on a total uncomfortable position for 4 or 5 hours because this thing, and there was some big buck sign in there, and I was so afraid it was that deer just bedded down on the other side of that hill, on the other side of me. And it could have been. I never saw the deer. I never saw him, but I smelt that sucker. I could get whiffs of him, and so. You can absolutely smell them. Yeah. And so I use that scent shield. And then what I do with deer and turkey, and this is the thing I do with deer, I've got a big 140 class Indiana buck in my living room that I killed, rattled him in and grunted him in all the way to the base of the tree. But I'll tell you what, that deer is a prime example right there. And turkeys too. This is the one thing I teach in my seminars about turkey hunting. If that gobbler is walking away from you, and he's leaving, and he's leaving, don't sit there and go, well, he's leaving. I'm just going to have to do something. Call to him. Do something. Don't just sit there and go, well, he's leaving. Same thing with a deer. If that deer is walking away and he's leaving, I don't care if it's early season, rut, late season, if he's leaving or if he's just getting ready to, I'm going to grunt at him. I'm going to make something. I'm going to do something. I'm not going to sit there and go, woo, I saw a deer. I'm going to do whatever I got to do. And I'm going to grunt until he hears me. And so I have actually seen that. And this buck this Indiana buck I got, he was leaving. He come into the horns, but he was leaving. He come up there, he didn't see that them deer fighting. The man, he wasn't having none of it. He was like, out of here. And I couldn't get a clear shot. And I just got that grunt call, man, I was a little stupid. I had it in my backpack. Should have been around my neck, but I didn't. Had it in my backpack, had to get it, fumble around with it. And he's actually walking away from me, tail end to me. He walking away from me. And I just, and that wind was blowing out real loud. And man, I just grunted real loud, just, it sounded like a duck. And that sucker threw his head up, looked back at me, and his ears laid straight back. And I went, And he turned totally back around, come 10 yards from a tree, and I shot him. Now, what if I wouldn't have had the grunt call with me?
You'd have watched him walk away.
Yeah.
He'd still be there today,
And you
probably.
do that with turkey. Man, I've done that with turkeys, but you'd be surprised the guys turkey hunting that gobblers on the neighbors over there, and he's walking. Well, do something.
Do something.
How?
I don't care if you get up and run, try to get around him. Do something.
I'm afraid I'm going to mess something up. I'm afraid I'm going to mess up. What are you going to mess up? He's over there where you can't. You got to get him over here at the fence and get him through this fence or crawl under the fence. You got to get him. What are you going to mess up? And people are so afraid. Going back to what I said on Call Shop, people. Well, I'm afraid I'm going to mess up. What are you going to mess up? You can't kill him anyway. He's going to leave. Do something.
That's exactly.
Don't just sit there and.
I did exactly that in Canada this year. Those turkeys we had a decoy out. We didn't know. And those hens and that gobbler was right behind them. But those hens saw that decoy. They made a hard left and they left. I mean, they went up to another field. You know what I did?
Yeah.
I got up and because what else can you do? I mean, I got up and I'm talking about, I booked it around trying to get to him. Dustin, he was down there with me, but he didn't know what I was doing either. Really. I was just going to go. What can you, if you bust him or whatever, you wasn't going to kill him anyway. So I got around on him and got him killed, but if I'd have just sat there and watched him walk off, guess what?
Yeah.
He'd be gone. He'd still be up there in Ontario, Canada, on a limb right now, I guess.
And that happens so much, man. That happens so much, and people get in their comfort zone, and they just can't get out of that comfort zone. Well, I hunt this way, and that's how I'm comfortable. Well, sometimes you're not going to kill nothing hunting the way that you're going to hunt. There's sometimes, I don't do it a lot, especially with the bow, but I have. If he's out there in a pasture, or a doe's out there, or buck, or whatever, and if I can use the terrain, I'm going to do a spot and stalk. I'm going to try to stalk on him. Yeah, I may blow it.
Yeah.
But oh well, I'm going to try it. And there's been times when I've stalked right up on him with a bow and shot him, and but I'm going to do something. And I guess that's why that I'm not like I was telling earlier, I can't go on national forest and sit for 6, 7, 10 days at a time and not see a deer, and walk 2 miles back in there like these guys that are killers can do. And props to them for doing it. It's just not me. But after I'm not saying I have to see something every day. I'm not saying I have to kill something every day, because I don't. I usually don't see nothing every day. But if I go 4 or 5 days and I ain't seen a deer, I'm going to do something different. I'm not going to sit there and go, well, this ain't working.
Another day.
This ain't working,
But I catch myself in exactly what you're talking about. I'll hunt a spot or an area, 2 or 3 days, and knowing I need to go, I need to move, I shouldn't even be here. But I sit there and go, well, I didn't see him. It's been 3 days, so tomorrow that'll be, my chances are better. I'm going to see him. Well, if you ain't seen, he's not there, or you're not in the right spot, or there's something, just like you said, you need to do something different, move, go somewhere else.
And a lot of times we get, of course, you hear this talked about a lot more now, because there's more hunting pressure now than there was when we was growing up. But you can overhunt an area this little 27 acres I've got. I'll hunt it Saturday, but I probably won't go back till maybe Friday. I'll hunt it one day and go back in there like 4, 5, 6 days later. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I try to stay out of there as much as possible, because usually I want to make that first time in count, and I want to make the times I go in there to count. And I get these pictures every day of these deer, and I'm like, man, I should be up there today. But the reason they're there is because you're not putting so much pressure on them.
Exactly.
And so I'm a big believer in not putting as much pressure on them as possible. And it's hard for me to do that turkey hunting, because I want to be out there every day. Deer hunting, I don't have to be in the woods every day. unless it's the rut. Now the rut, November, yeah, I'm out there every day. But like right now, it don't bother me to miss 3 or 4 days of turkey or deer hunting. It just don't, because I want to go in when it's right.
Sure.
But when I was a kid, we wanted to be in the woods every day, and that's why we didn't see nothing.
Well, I mean, that's the whole deal with public land hunting. I don't do a lot of it anymore. I do more turkey hunting than I do deer hunting for sure. But those deer, there's people in there almost every day. I mean, that guy's got a day off. He's in there hunting. If it's Saturday and the wind's wrong, he's in there hunting because that's his only day to hunt. Those deer, they know, they smell it, they see it. And to an extent, probably turkeys too. They've been busted and bumped and,
absolutely.
That's what makes them. I don't necessarily believe they're harder to kill. I hear, I think the people that public land hunt like to tell everybody that. When I was growing up, that's all we had to hunt. I mean, I say it all the time. These young guys, nothing against them. They're our future of the sport.
Yeah.
But this public land, it's not Eden out there. I mean, it's that I've stood in line to get a doe tag at 4 a.m. with 400 other hunters going in on a management area. Yeah. I mean, now they'll cry if they see 3 people drive down the road where they're parked. Yeah. And the one thing we got into the turkey hunting part of it, and it really bothers me, and this has bothered me for probably the last 4 or 5 years, especially. I say since 2019 is when I really started seeing it. 2019, 2020 is when I really started seeing it, and it bothers me. And I've got a couple of friends, close friends, good turkey hunters that has got into this belief, and it drives me insane. But today's YouTubers and social media turkey hunters, they believe this hype that public land turkeys are a trophy, and anybody that kills a private land is just, you're not real turkey hunters. They're not as good. They're not as real. If you want real turkey hunting, you got to go to public land. You got to kill public land. I agree. I hear it all the time.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing, and I've told so many people, and it gives me some looks when I'm doing seminars and stuff. But I'm like, some of you sitting here, you think somebody posts a picture of a gobbler, and you're like, how many comments have you read on Facebook? Was he public or private? Yeah. Was he public or private? And if they say private, it's like, oh, well, congrats. But but if he's public, he's like, man, that's awesome. You're doing it right. And here's the thing. I want to ask you a question. So I've killed a handful. I don't hunt public very much. It's not because I can't. It's just I don't want to. Here's the way I feel. If I'm going to spend money, gas, hotel tags, out-of-state tags, and somebody invites me to come on a hunt, I want to put myself in the best possible situation to kill a turkey.
Absolutely.
Or a deer. I'm not interested, and call me lazy or whatever. I'm not interested in going and spending 3 days trying to find a gobbler and hunting 2 days, and I've only got a 5-day hunt. I don't want to be spoon-fed. I don't want somebody to have a bunch of turkeys pinned up for me, but I want to know when I'm going somewhere, there's turkeys there.
I agree.
Okay, that's just me, because I've got money spending this. All right. Now, let me ask you a question. Dave Owens, Shane Simpson, 2 of the best public land hunters on YouTube. Wouldn't you agree?
I agree.
Okay. How many times have you seen these at hunting public? Same way. How many times have you seen these videos where they're like, well, he's over on private.
Mm-hmm.
He can't go to, he's on private. Or how many times have you seen Dave Owens set up where he's like, hell, the boundary's right up there on the ridge, can't go no further. But he calls that gobbler
off of
private, on the public, and he shoots him. Let me ask you, so was that a private land or a public land gobbler?
Well, they don't know. Them birds don't know where they're at.
No. I'm just saying.
I agree. I know exactly what you're saying.
But was that gobbler? If you'd have been, so if you would have had permission to hunt that place on the other side of the ridge or down in the other holler, and you'd have went on the farmer's Fred side and walked up the holler and killed him, everybody said, "Oh, he's a farm bird." But because you was on the backside of that hill and he come across on public, he's a smart turkey now. I mean, really, it's the same turkey.
Listen,
Do you know? It's stupid. It's stupid.
I own 40 acres, or just about 40, a little less than that. Two sides of it backs up to the Talladega National Forest. I got 40 acres. You're not going to hold turkeys on 40 acres. But if I kill them, just like you said, I'm sitting over there on my side of the hill looking at the line. They're roosted over there on the forest, and they fly across that holler and land in front of me. Nobody cares that turkey and spent 99% of his life on public land. They just hear I killed it on my place. Oh, that's like you didn't do anything. Well,
yeah, that's it, man. It's crazy.
But I think it's
nuts.
It's just that YouTube, it's a social media thing. I'm not going to say YouTube because YouTube. I wish I'd have had some YouTube back when I couldn't get nobody to tell me anything. Right. And it took me 3 years to kill my first turkey. If like we said earlier, I mean, if they told you something, they was lying 9 times out of 10. But I had an old guy, Mr. Seymour. I'm sure he's passed away now. He was one of the smartest turkey hunters I ever have been around in my life. And his brother was one of the dumbest turkey hunters I'd ever been around in my life. And the man hunted in a blue plaid shirt and brown briar breeches. And I asked Mr. Seymour one day, I said, "Mr. Seymour, why don't you tell him he don't need to be hunting? He's not going to kill anything dressed like that." Squawked around on that box. I mean, black dark. You'd be trying to roost a turkey, and you could hear him three ridges over on his box call, just a whacking at it. And he looked at me and he smiled. And he said, "If I told him all that, Anthony, he might kill a turkey." That was his own brother. So, but
my dad told me when I first started the YouTube channel, and then when it got popular, because he watches it, he don't have internet much, but he don't even have a cell phone. He don't even have a cell phone. He still got the landline phone, but he's got an old computer there at his house, and he watched. But he told me a few years ago, he said, "You know what?" He said, "If you'd have been alive in the 70s, early 70s, and he said, you'd have been doing what you're doing, they'd have tarred and feathered you."
Yeah, I believe it.
He said they would have tarred and feathered. He said, because you just didn't. He said, you just didn't. He said, now deer hunting, people let you know stuff, but he said turkey hunting was he said it was honestly like a mafia, like a secret society.
It was. I mean, there were so few of them anyway, and the ones and turkeys were rare. You didn't want nobody to know anything. I mean,
but he told me that he said people would tarred and feathered you. He said they would have tarred and feathered you because you're giving away. And sometimes I still get comments on some of my videos like, "Shh, don't be giving away all the secrets."
Well, I mean,
the video I did was a couple years ago. I don't know if you ever watched it, where I talked about the push and pull method, where I'll go into a gobbler and let him think I'm coming to him. Then I'll turn around and go right back to where I was sitting up, let him think I'm walking away from him if he's hung up.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a guy, I'll never forget that comment. He's like, "Dude, why are you giving away all of our secrets?" I'm like, well,
but me and Dustin run a Facebook group here. It's Alabama Turkey Hunters. We got 30,000 members, I guess. We had a guy this one stands out because I have to calm them down. I chunk them off every day because I don't put up with ugliness and degrading people and that kind of thing. But there was a guy made mention that he heard a turkey's gobbling. You know what I'm talking about, Dustin? When he was fishing, he heard turkeys, and these people were roasting him. You don't be telling people
they were on a national forest or management. It was a management,
like 100,000 acre management area. He didn't say I was in so and so slough fishing. He just mentioned that he was fishing that lake bordered up against, around the management area, miles of it, and they were roasting this guy. And I'm going, Guys, he didn't tell anybody where any turkey was.
And there was tons of comments on
Oh man,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't. And it was mainly
I
young
just thought-
hunter. I say that there was one
Yeah.
old guy. I had to get on, do DM with him. I was about to get rid of him. I mean, it was just like we're not going to have it.
You think he dropped a pin?
Yeah, yeah. Like he said, here's my pen where I heard all these turkeys gobbling this morning. It was just crazy. The same way with deer hunting, they'll do the same thing.
I've killed I've killed probably over 160 turkeys in my career, which is a lot. I'm not an old guy. I'm still pretty young, but I've killed a lot of turkeys. That probably 85% of them turkeys have been private land turkeys, and I can tell you right now, every one of them turkeys did not come easy. They are just as hard to kill as a public land turkey because they don't know that they're on public.
No, they don't.
They don't know they're on private. And I have seen Old Sly, the one that I'm kind of known for, the gobbler I was known for, that I made that named my calls after, my signature line of calls. Old Sly, it's a private land turkey, a farm turkey. You guys listening, you young guys, public land. It took me 6 weeks to kill this turkey. A whole Virginia season. It took me, our season is 6 weeks. It took me 6 weeks to kill from opening day to the last day. It took me 6 weeks to kill this guy. I called him in 7 times to gun range, couldn't get him killed. Something would always happen. That's why I called him Old Sly, because he was Sly by me all the time. I called him Old Sly. I called him within 40 yards 7 times, or 6 times, couldn't kill him. Finally killed him on the 7th. And
well, man, that was a private land bird. Don't be bragging.
That was a private land. But I'm telling you that gobbler was so weary and so spooky, and that gobbler was so spooky. I mean, you could just fart and he would just freak out. You know what I'm saying? It was just, he was just, I mean, you could just do anything and he would just totally, and, but you can't tell me that these, but I agree with you. The reason I don't hunt, people say, why don't you hunt public? Why don't you hunt public? Well, I hunted public. Actually, I hunted one day in public in Alabama this year while I was down there, and come close to killing one on public down there one morning. But we screwed that one up. That was our fault. I mean, that was just, we moved at the wrong time, and I thought he was not where he was, and that didn't turn out too good. And we spooked him, but it was, that was my fault. I should have not moved when I did, but.
Oh, well, we did the same thing in
just,
Indiana this year. So
it was just one of them deals, but
it's going to happen.
I hunted there one morning and we got on turkeys because nothing was happening on private, but I'm going to tell you something. I'm not against hunting public at all, but here's the reason I don't hunt public. One, the chances of it happening is very slim. I get it, but it's not that. You can trust me because I'm the safest person in the world to hunt around, but I don't trust you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I don't trust Harry and Joe out there. I don't know you. I don't know if you're going to be one of these guys that just shoot a crap. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Now the chances of that happening is very slim. There's not many accidents, hardly ever. I get it, but I don't know you. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, so I used to call them, and I know the young guys. They ain't no more Kmart. I used to call them Kmart hunters. They just
so
come in and they bought a gun.
And that's a concern. That's a concern. But I'll tell you, the biggest concern to me, the biggest aggravation to me is when I'm working a gobbler, and I try not to get that gobbler to gobble much if he can. If I'm on public, I try not to keep him gobbling, but sometimes you have to. But it never fails. I'll get to working the turkey, man, and he'll be coming in slow, and I'll call him. But then somebody will come in below me and just absolutely just.
I've had him come in and cut me off. I was in Skyline, which is kind of northwest of where you were hunting in North Alabama, a management area, and I had him. He was above me coming to me. Like you said, you can't call him down a hill, of course. So I probably wasn't going to kill him anyway. But I had 2 guys come in in between me and that bird and did exactly what you said. Just did. Pow, 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 and was moving, and they bumped him, and he was gone.
Oh, it drives me insane.
So-
I mean, and I just feel like if I have drove that far and I have worked that hard, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to have to deal with that. Now you say, well, that's just laziness. No, that's being smart. And your public land but I got a good friend. I mean, and he's a good turkey hunter, but now he used to kill private land turkeys left and right. But the last 2 or 3 years, he's got into this. If it ain't private, I don't want it. Or if it ain't public, I don't want it. And I'm like, oh God Almighty, you know. And he will absolutely go a whole season and kill maybe 1 to 2 gobblers where he used to limit out. You know what I'm saying? But he'd rather kill 1 gobbler on public than 3 on private because he's got. But they get into this mind frame, and you can't convince him that the private land turkeys are just as smart as the public land because of YouTube and all this stuff. But you look at these guys, look at them. Look at Dave Owens for a prime example, and Shane Simpson and Hunting Public. How many times have you heard them get a gobbler to gobble, and they'll look at the camera and say, well, can't go after that one. Well, what does that tell you? That tells you they're hunting the outside perimeters of that property. They're not hunting 2 miles deep in the national forest.
No,
they're hunting butted up against Farmer Jones.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%.
And that's what I do. If I'm hunting public, that's what I do. I mean, that's just
That's exactly what we did in Illinois this year. I mean, we ended up not killing them on there, but.
Yeah,
you know they're there. I mean, that's where the cornfields and the bean fields were, and they're out there.
And that's just the problem you got. And so everybody and their mother's hunting public now, and they're learning these secrets. So when I go somewhere, when somebody calls and invites me to come on a hunt, I appreciate it. But before I decide to go, I ask them 100 different questions about the property. How many turkeys? And one of the things I ask is, well, what did you do last year? Because you'll get these people when you come and hunt with them, and they'll say, well, 3 years ago, we had a bunch of them over here. Well, I don't care about 3 years ago. 3 years, I don't care. What did you do last year? What did you do this past spring? Well, yeah, they wouldn't. But 3 years ago, it's just, it don't matter. It don't matter. But if somebody, if somebody turns me on to a place and they'll say, hey man, we'd like for you to come out and hunt. And I have a lot of guys that'll invite me to come, and they'll say, man, I just want to pay you back. And you taught me so much, and I've learned so much from you, and you've helped me kill turkeys. And I just like to meet you. And hey, if you ever come hunt my place, I've got 200 acres, or I've got 140 acres. And guess what? When I kill them turkeys, I don't feel one bit bad about it. No. I don't feel one.
A dead turkey's the best turkey.
And sometimes it's an easy hunt. Sometimes it is easy. Sometimes you go in there the first day and bang, he fly off the roost, come right to you. But most of the times, if I'm on a 5-day hunt, because that's usually what my hunts are, because I have to travel and stuff, 5-day hunt, it may take me to the 5th day to kill one.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Always takes me to the 5th day, it seems like. If we hunt 5 days or 9 days, it seems like it's that last day before I ever get to pull the trigger. I don't even know if I've killed a turkey before you on a travel hunt.
South Dakota, 15 minutes. I stayed. Oh, well,
that's true. I was in South Dakota and killed one 15 minutes. I'm not the guy.
But do you know how me and you, all three of us, do you know how we're hardcore turkey hunters? You know how I know? Because here it is deer season. We tried to make this a deer hunt podcast.
We have made,
and we've made this about spring turkey hunting. And that goes to show you the passion though, where it lies. And when I kill a deer, I get excited and I thank the Lord for it. And I'm glad it's in my freezer, because I'll go through 4 deers a year here at the house. Mm-hmm. I'll usually I have 4 or 5 deers in the freezer by the end of deer season. And I think maybe right now I've got maybe 2 packs left from 2024. And I'll go through every one of them, so I totally am all for eating deer, but if you come down to it, man, to me, there's when I'm out there deer hunting, I'm sitting there thinking, man, this would be a good place turkey hunt. Oh,
yeah,
man, this would be good. Oh my God. Oh man, look. Oh, there's turkey scratching. Oh my God. It's like, and I think it's because for me, I know what it is. Now I love to rattle deer in. I've rattled a few in my life, and like that Indiana buck I got, and I got a big one here in my trophy room. This big 11-pointer I rattled him in Missouri a few years ago. He come in stomping, looking like a Tennessee walking show horse, high stepping, neck hair all raised. He's looking to kill me, and that's fun when that happens, but that don't happen all the time. That very seldom happens when it's like that. But I love to call stuff. And for me, getting that turkey or that deer, but especially turkey, to get that turkey like this one last past year, I got 400 yards that was over on the neighbors where I could not hunt. And I got that turkey, that wild animal, to come down a holler, up the other side, up another ridge, right to me and shoot him less than 10 yards. And I did that. I did that.
That's what makes it special.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't no blinds. It wasn't no reaping. I wish they'd outlaw that reaping stuff. I really do.
I think it is outlawed here. Is it not outlawed in Alabama?
You can't do it in Alabama.
Yeah, it's outlawed here.
I think it needs to, and I know a lot of guys, I don't like it. I never have liked it. To me, that's not turkey hunting. But to me, a person who sets in a blind with decoys in a field and they shoot a turkey, nothing against that. And hey, if it's raining, if it's pouring, I shot one in West Virginia on video a couple years or 3 years ago, and it's pouring to rain, and I was glad I had that blind that day.
Oh yeah,
I was there. But to me, if you take a lot of guys, and I've heard this, and I know this for a fact. I've had guys tell me, because they watch, now I'm not knocking any TV shows, but because they watch Real Tree or the Mossy Oak guys, they watch the Duries or whatever, and they say, well, that all their hunts sitting in the blind with the decoy because they got to get good TV, they got to get good footage, you know what I'm saying? And you watch all these videos of these same hunts, same thing over and over, same style of hunting. Well, we've had a generation raised on that to where they think that's turkey hunting. Yes. And when you take them guys that's 20, 25 years old now, and you put them in the woods, they're totally lost. They're absolutely lost.
I agree.
And I've had guys tell me, though, that they killed 2 or 3 gobblers sitting in a blind, and they tried public land or they tried woods hunting, and they totally just got destroyed. But then they find my videos, and then they start watching them, and they start learning, and they're like, I'll never hunt in a blind again.
Well, that's
like,
true.
I'll never, because to me, that's real turkey hunt. I just don't want to sit in a blind. I don't want to sit in a tower blind and shoot a turkey. I don't want to sit in a box blind and shoot a turkey. I want to be back against the tree, knees to my face, shotgun looking down my barrel. I want to be sitting there and let him come looking for me. That, to me, is the lost art of turkey hunting.
It is.
And
well, Matt, I know we can sit here for another 2 or 3 hours.
We probably could.
But
I don't know how long we've been talking, but
about an hour and 45 minutes or so.
Well, listen, I think next time, if you have me back, we'll do a spring one.
Well, we'll do a spring. Definitely have you back.
Do some. And tonight's been more stories and just learning, but we'll do some strategies and teaching and and then if I get down there, where I hunted at in Alabama in turkey season. He invited me to come back because there's been one bucket list thing I've wanted to do. Well, I've got a few bucket lists, but one of my bucket list things I wanted to do, I have never killed a deep south buck in the rut in January with a rifle, and I want to do a rut hunt I want to go somewhere in the South and hunt the rut in January.
Well, come on.
Well, come on down, because rut's January, around the 20th of January down south where I hunt.
Same for me.
And so it's something I've always wanted to do is I don't have to kill a monster, but just kill a decent buck and shoot up 2 or 3 does, and get some footage. But I've always wanted to do it. January. I've killed some deer in January, like muzzleloading and like around here, just does and stuff. But I've never really hunted a rut hunt in the deep South, and that's something I've really wanted to always do. So I may come down there, and I'm not going to be very far from y'all, right?
No, you won't.
So we may have to hook up and at least meet each other and go have dinner or something, and maybe throw a deer hunt in there. We don't know.
Yeah.
Well, if we don't make it this year, we'll sure try to do it the following year. You going to be in Nashville for the convention this year?
Yeah.
We'll definitely see you there. We'll be there all week.
And then we might try to hook up. Because I come to Alabama every turkey season, so we might try to hook up and do a turkey hunt if you if you got some, Now we can go chase some public land if you want, but I ain't above shooting some of your private land birds either.
That's true. Well, we hadn't got a Virginia bird off our list yet either, so we may have to come see you.
Well, I'll tell you what. I've got, I don't have like a bunch of places. I've got some pretty good public places that's got some turkeys.
Well, that's the trophy then. I'd rather kill,
Well, that's the trophy.
And I get patted on the back.
I've got one spot in private that's about 150 acres that I killed some turkeys there, but actually I've got, this is a cool little backstory. I've got one place. Now he won't let me deer hunt. I wished he would, but he won't. He says that for his grandkids. I understand. He's got some grandkids that hunt, and they deer hunt there, and that's okay. But nobody turkey hunts it. And I've hunted this place for 20 years. This past spring made 20 years I've hunted this one spot without fail. Even when I lived in Missouri, I'd drive back every turkey season because Virginia opens up a week earlier than Missouri did. So I'd come here and hunt a week, and then I'd go to Missouri for the opening. But I'd always limit out when I'd come here, and I could limit out like on a good year. I could limit out on 1 week on this spot. It's only about 41 acres. It's just on top of a hill, and it sits not too far from an elementary school. I can actually look down and see the playground of the elementary school. And I have killed in 20 years. I have killed the last gobbler I killed one up there this year. I think that made 27 gobblers I've killed off that one piece of property.
Wow. Well, before we do get off here, tell everybody where they can find you
in your seminars.
I mean your seminars, your YouTube, your social media, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, seminars I ain't got booked up yet for 2026, but you can find me on Facebook at Dell Outdoors, and you can find me on Instagram at Dell Outdoors, and my YouTube is Dell Outdoors. So go over there and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, I'm on Patreon. I got a link into my description. That's where you can come and just give $5 a month. Just to, I've got turkey calls from Spring Fever Custom Calls. I work with them. I've got a signature line of turkey calls out, and with that my design that I've designed and been my little thing, and so it does good. And so you can go over to just Dell Outdoors, Facebook, Instagram. That's pretty much where I do just about everything. And come over to my Facebook, because on Saturday nights during turkey season and deer season too, I'm probably getting ready to start them back up. Every Saturday night I do a live where people can come in, we'll chat, talk about hunting, and you can ask me any questions or whatever, and we do giveaways and stuff sometimes. So go over to Dell Outdoors on social media and follow me there, and you can find me there.
Well, good deal. Well, we really appreciate you coming on tonight.
Yes.
I know.
Well, I appreciate you having me.
I know you're an hour ahead of us. We're on Central Time, so I know it's already getting late for you. So because it's after 9.
Well, I'm gonna go in here and actually I'm gonna watch a movie that and that's about an hour and a half long, and then get me at about 12 o'clock, and I'll probably go to bed, and it'll be one day closer to bow season.
There you go. There you go. Well, that
But y'all stay in touch with me, and we'll do this again. And then if I get down there in January, I'll give y'all. I'll keep your number in my phone. I'll give you a holler, and we'll try to meet up.
most definitely.
Yeah.
Well,
For sure.
All right.
All right. It was a pleasure.
Okay.
All
All right.
We'll talk to you soon.
Bless you.
All right.
Bye.
All right. Bye bye. Wow. He had a lot to say.
Oh yeah. You know-
Rarely do I sit so quiet so long.
Well, and when you have it, like we've never met him in person or
No.
anything, so you don't really know like if you're gonna have to kind of go with it and push it. But I
No.
mean, he definitely has a passion, and he's
We're going to get a little more structured
yeah.
on our next one with him because he has the knowledge.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I was hoping to get talking some fall turkey hunting tactics and that kind of thing. Now they're out there, guys. They're on his YouTube channel, but I was hoping to have him live here on the show talk it. But I guess we'll just save it, get ready because he'll be back.
Yeah.
Toward February, 1st of March, whatever. Because our switch is going to flip come about January. We're gonna move to almost 100% turkeys again, I think.
Oh yeah.
So, although it seems like we're about 75% all the time anyway. So, either way, I hope everybody enjoyed it. I did. Dale's he's a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah.
And I like his YouTube videos. They're not very long.
They're great tutorial.
Yeah,
videos.
they're a good 10, 15, sometimes 20 minutes. But you get something out of every one of them. But anyway, you got anything?
If you're hunting this weekend, be safe.
Oh, that's
Wear your
right.
harness.
I'm not exactly sure when this is coming out, but here in Alabama, bow season should be going or right there on the edge. I know I'm planting green fields this Saturday, so that's about all I got.
Yep. I don't think we got any announcements right now. There ain't no lot going on as far as events.
We're going to keep in mind this coming spring. We are planning an event. Hopefully,
Yes.
we'll have us a little turkey day somewhere here close. So keep your ears and eyes open for more on that as it gets closer to spring.
Yeah.
Other than that, I say we get on off here.
Sounds good.
All right. We'll see you guys in about a week and take care of the trees because that's where the turkeys sleep.